I don't even know what to do. I don't.
We just got to go after Danielle.
Hey guys, today we're talking Traitors episode 6.
Yeah. Shit's getting crazy, man.
Yep.
I don't know what can we call the show Traitors, or the Traitors trading on themselves?
What a cluster, man. What a cluster this was.
Yeah, well, it starts off, Carolyn is calling out Danielle.
Mm-hmm.
And Danielle first tries to deny it. She's like, what? And then, I can fix it.
Yeah. She's like, okay, fine, yeah.
I get it.
Because Rob just like, dude, like, come on, let's just get our shit together here. Come on, let's all team back up. Let's get this figured out. Yeah, and then Daniel's like, yeah, I can fix this. And then, yeah, I was hoping they could at least pull something together, but as we see later, man, it was just, wow.
Do you think Rob likes what's going on, or do you think he needs these guys to back them up, especially right now?
I think he needed them to back him up big time at the freaking, he got lucky as hell he didn't get voted out. We'll talk about it later. He really needed him to back him. But, I mean, those two bickering amongst each other at this point isn't doing him any favors.
No.
Yeah, and Danielle's supposed to be focused on Rob, and now it's like Carolyn's in the mix.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, it's not doing him any favors, but it kind of is, because they were supposed to be working together to get Rob out.
Right.
But now they're at each other, so Rob is safe from them at least.
Yeah. And here's the thing, too. Danielle planted, because at this point, Carolyn's only aware of the one seed Danielle planted.
Right.
She planted like 5 or 6. So Danielle should have just came clean right there and said, look, okay, I talked to a lot of people.
Okay, I did say your name.
Right,
not
but
once, not twice, but like 3 or 4 times. Okay?
Yeah, so she says she'll make it better, but it doesn't ever show her trying to make it better.
She
No, it
doesn't.
doesn't.
She doesn't make it worse. She doesn't start going
Yeah, it's
out
almost like we're starting from scratch, but I'm not doing damage control.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but of course, as it's going on, Carolyn's thinking, oh, she's throwing my name out there more, when in reality, no, it was all the day before, but,
Yeah.
So now they're talking about who they're going to murder. And, Rob, people have been throwing his name out there, so he's thinking Wes.
Uh-huh.
And then Ivar gets brought up.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And then Bob Harper.
Yeah, and then Bob.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, they're all fine names at this point, I think. But I think, and as we see later, it did put a little more shade on Rob by getting rid of Bob at that time, So, Rob.
It would have definitely gotten more shade had he gotten rid of Wes.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. But then an Ivar at this point, it'd have been.
I think Ivar would have been the smart one at this point, because
exactly.
it's not obvious that someone would be targeting someone because of him. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
But he's loosely just throwing names out there. He's not very convicted.
Right. And I think he also thinks he can just deflect and say, obviously the traitor is trying to set me up to make me look like, I'm the bad guy by killing Bob Harper because he called me out.
I mean, the good thing for Rob here is he does have lots of different ways to deflect no matter who goes out. But as we see later on, somebody picks up on that pretty damn quick, too. Yeah. And I was like, well, I guess smart.
So they're at breakfast, and then old Derrick and stuff is like, hey, if Rob comes in here, man, he's the traitor.
Yeah. I love Derrick.
All eyes are on Rob, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, and Derrick's face when Rob walks in, he's like,
there it is.
That's the guy.
Now, I wonder if people have watched this show enough, and I haven't watched it all the way through to know, but just from the little bit I've watched, if I'm on this show, I'm thinking, I want to see the 3 people coming into the room last. Because those are probably the 3 people, or at least 2 of the 3 that have been brought up by the traitors.
Right, exactly.
Because that's what they seem to do, right? If you throw a name out there, they're like, well, we don't want to spoil it by showing you them coming into the room so early, so we save them for last.
Yeah, I mean,
so that's an indicator.
I've seen him not do it that way every time, but yeah.
But they've done it like that
on this season,
a couple times in a row.
Yeah. I will say, usually the last person walking in is someone that was possibly considered.
I would be noting that.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
So I don't know, something I'm catching, and I'm like, I wonder if anyone else is even remotely trying to think of this.
Oh, Tom, man, Tom's got his heart set.
Well, the other thing that you need to know that I think Derrick seems to be the only one that notes is when they do catch a traitor, who was adamant about calling them out.
Mm-hmm.
And then what did that person who was a traitor, what were they saying when they were leaving?
Yeah, exactly. But then Rob was still able to turn that around too. So Rob is smart, man. That dude's smart.
But at breakfast, of course, it's Bob, Harper, and I don't know what it is, but I feel like everyone likes him on this show. So.
Yeah, they all did. Everybody liked Bob.
Something's different without him, too. So
yeah, Ciara was like, if Bob's goes home, I'm gonna burn this place down, right? So I was like, well, I didn't know you were that close.
Yeah,
to Bob,
she didn't seem that close,
Right.
but again, how do you not really how do you dislike Bob Harper? I don't know. He seems to be a pretty
he's a
likable
nice
guy.
dude, man.
So, but it's him. He's out. He was throwing Rob's name out there as well, and
Who was it at the beginning? Was it Gabby at the beginning? Somebody brought up Danielle. Like when the first 2 or 3 people walked into breakfast, somebody brought up Danielle.
Dolores is always concerned that Danielle might be getting out. And again, that thing that
that she might be a traitor.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
And that conversation,
then it should have been obvious from last week
Yeah.
that Danielle's a traitor,
Exactly.
and
No one's talking about that.
didn't get brought up at all.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody brought it up today. Like there was a perfect opportunity for somebody to bring it up at the round table, and she didn't. I was like, what the hell, man? Like these people aren't. Some people in this game just are horrible at playing it.
They're
man.
either really dumb or there's got to be some editing
Yeah.
that they're not showing us because there's no way people are talking about that.
Yeah, Carolyn. Yeah.
So after this, Wes and Derrick are talking about Rob.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh, yeah.
and Rob is he feels it from Wes, so he's kind of throwing Wes's name out there.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. It's a pretty smart move, right? Especially since other people are already kind of putting on the vibe that Wes is kind of trying to dominate things, and they're like, yeah, he is trying to do that, ain't he? So Rob, Rob's smart.
Even though I feel like it's more Derrick than Wes.
Yeah, but Derrick isn't as vocally aggressive about it
Exactly.
like Wes is. Although I really don't.
Derrick tries to make
I don't
it
know.
smart when he goes to you. He tries to make it feel like that was your day. He's like, you convinced me with what you said. And Ivar's like, what are you talking about, man?
He's like, I'll give you a minute to think about it. What we talked about last night.
Ivar went through like 10 names. He's like, oh, Rob?
Yeah, exactly.
So he's doing a little protection of himself and making it seem like it's your idea. Remember, you were on to Rob, and you got me
And you
thinking.
turned me onto it. Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's the thing about Derrick. He's for the people. So he's gonna champion the people for them to succeed. He
Yeah.
might be running it, but he's gonna make them think that they're doing it.
You see, and that's where Wes kind of falters, right? Because Wes he's in your face about it, where Derrick is thinking like, what if this backfires? I need to out.
Yeah.
I need a way out in case this kind of like boomerangs back at me. And Wes doesn't seem to care half the time.
Right.
So
No, he doubles down on that later too.
I'm curious how much money Wes won because later on he's like, I have been the biggest winner out of anybody in this show, and I'm better than all of you, and all this shit. I'm like, damn, how much money did that dude win on the challenge to where he could just say that?
Just so much.
yeah,
The
he acts like he was created in a lab to be superior to everybody or something.
I was like, what the hell
I
is this
never
guy talking
watched the
about?
challenge,
Yeah,
but
I didn't either.
But I do wonder, like, is he one that's won everything he's been on? Like, is this the first thing
I
he
gotta
hasn't
do some
won?
research on him because, like, the way he's talking,
He's like, I'm more superior to everybody combined in this room. Is basically what he says.
Because a lot of the people like Rob and Britney and Derrick, they've been on their shows more than once,
Yeah,
but
right.
haven't won it more than once. So maybe
yeah, you
he's
act
just
like
won
he
everything.
acts like he won that show, went to Survivor, won that.
Yeah.
And he's like, what
You
can I
can't
win?
lose.
Yeah.
You can't lose.
Yeah.
So it's mission time and $30,000, essentially to topple the traitor.
Yeah.
Again, this one for me, the timer was either off or it was all, or it was
Like
all
30
bullshit.
minutes.
Right, or it was all bullshit because first of all these clowns are more concerned about the shield than they are the freaking gunpowder, which in a game like this, it should be one or the other.
Yeah.
Either you're going to get the shields and you're not going to have time to get the gunpowder, or you're going to get the gunpowder and you're going to be lucky to make it to the shields.
Or
right?
I get like one team could get the shield and you can still do it. But when everyone goes for the shield, you should lose.
Yeah.
The
Well,
way that timer was going, when it showed like 5 minutes left, and there was like
there was
barely
nothing
anything.
in there.
There was like nothing in there. And then all of a sudden, they're able to fill that thing up to 1,500 pounds in like 5 minutes. I was like, okay, there's some crazy editing going on here. That's just BS.
yeah.
Yeah, so everyone's going for the shields. Like they're completely ignoring the mission essentially for the shield.
Right.
So,
And here's the thing, if everybody's like, oh, the shield's more important, really? Because right now you barely have any money in your pot. So what's the point of freaking winning if you're winning nothing?
What is the money in the pot? at this
70,000 right now, which goes to 100,000 after this competition.
point? Yeah, that is not a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly.
But Carolyn snags a shield it's kind of interesting
That was
because all
hilarious.
3 teams are working together. They open the little box, and Carolyn's just like, "It's mine."
I got it right. I grabbed it first. I don't know. Tom's like, what the hell?
It was an accident.
Yeah, and then they're kind of discussing it, but like it doesn't seem like Carolyn's giving it up. So
No, she's like, I grabbed it. This is mine.
Which I think is, I don't think she did it strategically, but it is a great
It
move.
is a great move, no doubt.
Because she like went in and like, so everybody must think she's nervous, and she always gives off some kind of nervous energy anyway. So
Yeah, but the thing is, it is a great move, but I don't think she did it for that reason.
I
You know,
agree. I
that's
don't
the
think
thing.
it was the strategy because
Yeah.
she didn't talk about it that way.
And what else is interesting, Danielle's kind of on our team, and they kind of come up with like, hey, you don't tell anyone. It's like we all are protected.
Right.
But that doesn't seem to ever come into play.
No, it doesn't, because the traitors are going to find out who they can't vote out, right? I mean, at the end of the day, they're going to find out the 3
No, they don't.
who they can't murder.
No. See, this
Really?
is where it comes an advantage to watching previous seasons. Thanks for everybody
Okay.
forcing me basically to watch a previous season. So if they murder somebody that has a shield, but they don't know that they have the shield, then nobody gets murdered.
Wow.
So the traitors figure it out when they come down to breakfast. So if I murder Josh
Yeah,
and
shield.
he has the shield, and I'm sitting at breakfast like he's not coming in, and here comes Josh, I'm like,
Looking at you
oh
like,
shit.
are you supposed to be dead right now?
Right. Well, okay, well, I mean, and Diane or Danielle and Carolyn were on the same team, right?
I mean, the traitors, I think, kind of know who has it here just because there's 3 of them, and there are 2 of them are on separate teams at the very least. So maybe there's a couple people that could be questionable.
But that is why there's an advantage to not telling who has the shield,
Makes
because
sense.
in season 2 they did that where they lied and told people like you guys had the shield, so the traitors were like, well, we can't murder them, so they murdered somebody else, which they knew if they were going to murder you two, they were going to murder this other person, and they had the shield. So.
Right.
We also find out Dylan is quite the beast at paper, rock, scissors.
Yes,
rock,
he
paper,
is, man.
scissors.
He won.
He
He won.
deserves some kind of like he got to put it on his resume.
100-person tournament. He said that he won. I was like, damn, that's good.
I didn't realize I thought it was kind of like more luck than skill, but maybe it's all about that reflex timing. Like, I think they're going this way, so
That-
I'm pivoting.
Or he can really read people.
Psychic.
I don't know. I suck at rock paper.
I mean, he's
scissors, so I'm
been,
the
he's
exact
been
opposite.
questionable about knowing who the traitor is. So
Yeah.
right now
was
he
so
seems
good at first.
Oh, he
though.
was.
he
He
seems
was
like he's
spot on at
trusting
first,
Rob a little bit these
Yeah.
days.
Yeah,
so.
he does.
He made friends with Rob, and you don't want to, throw your friend under the bus.
Yeah, and now Derrick's the other one who has an eye on a shield. And he tries to make a play for it and says, look, I haven't gotten one.
Yeah.
That you know that, guys? And they're like, yeah.
I'm the only one that hasn't gotten the shield. They're like, yeah, rock, paper, scissors.
And I think that he needs the shield.
Oh, at this
for
point,
sure.
yeah. He's,
Yeah.
So I think
Deadly.
Chrishell is the one who got it there.
She is, yeah.
So, yeah, she beat him at...
Because he was like, yeah, congrats, Chrishell. Like, nobody's even looking at you. You don't need a damn shield.
He was a little bitter about
Oh,
it.
yeah, he
I don't
was.
blame him, but
So, yeah, and again, the pot's now at 100K. That's not nothing, but...
yeah, but you got to see the big explosion and the thing fall
Well,
down.
they're earning the money. I just wish the competitions would be, especially this one. When 3 people choose greed and to protect themselves, there should be a penalty for that.
Exactly. They should have not had enough time to fill up that freaking dang bucket at the end.
Yeah, and now Carolyn's still fishing to kind of root out whether Danielle has been saying her name, and she finds out some people.
Oh, yeah. Several people.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's
Have
fishing
admitted
during
to
the
her.
mission too. Like
Yeah.
she's like, forget that we're on a time limit here. I need to let's talk
Britney,
information.
yeah, and here's I was wondering too. I'm like, well, did she say that before? But she's also supposed to be doing damage control, which she doesn't seem to be doing.
No.
So
Exactly.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I think a lot of the information that Carolyn's getting at this point is what Danielle has done
Oh.
before, but she's not even considering that.
What-
And the fact that it's still coming to her means she hasn't done the damage control.
No, exactly. Well, the funny thing during that mission, too, remember, I think it was it Derrick and Sam? And Derrick's like, hey, bro, you need help getting it up?
That was weird.
And Sam, that's just weird.
You need me help getting it up for you? Sounds weird.
Oh, man.
yeah, so they're getting ready to go in the round table, and it seems like it's heading for a Wes versus Rob kind of deal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, Carolyn's still trying to like throw Danielle under the bus, but I just don't know if people are buying into it because
No.
she's not really selling it too hard, except
No,
for
dude.
like, can you believe Danielle's saying my name? That's essentially her
And
strategy.
here's where you should have brought up. Remember last opportunity when Danielle could have gotten herself a freaking shield and she gave it to 2 different people? Like, what the hell's up with that?
Yeah.
And she didn't throw it out there. Like, nobody's been throwing it out there, which doesn't make any sense. You know?
What the round table was just how Wes went in there and he was like pitching his case about Rob, and then obviously Rob starts defending himself or whatever.
Mhm.
And then people start like deflecting. You've got
Well,
Carolyn.
first
going for
off, it
Danielle.
starts off like everyone's kind of quiet, and then all of a sudden Dolores speaks up and
Yeah.
decides to crap on Tom.
Yeah. She's like, I've heard my name. Tom, go ahead. Give everybody your spiel.
And then he wasn't clearly ready for it, but she's like, go ahead, take your time, put it together. And then you can tell Derrick's a little annoyed at this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Derek's like, we have a plan.
Yeah.
We know what our target.
He's like, what is this sideshow you guys are talking about?
Derrick knows you're on a time limit here at this round table. He's like, look, I want to switch script here.
And then he says it. He's like, let's get back on track. All this is like sideshow, whatever. And then people like do kind of believe him and get on his argument. But
then everything he said, especially when he brought up freaking Bob the Drag Queen's last words, and then Rob's like, oh yeah, Bob the Drag Queen's last words were also everything I just told you was a lie. So he has a freaking, I mean, he's got it term for term, man. Somebody throws something at him, he throws it right back and is able to freaking.
But you're not fooling
Derrick builds a good case against Rob, but Rob's also good at deflecting, and he starts bringing up Wes. So, and then
Wes is aggressive.
And then it goes to Wes, and Wes actually nails it though, because he said, "I'll tell you what I think happened." I think Bob the Drag Queen mentioned you because he said one of the three people or that. And he's like, and I think you took the opportunity to turn on him. I mean, he calls it.
Yep.
Yes, he does. He nailed it perfectly, man. Perfectly.
But he calls it too aggressively for the group. The group cannot handle
the group's
his
like,
aggression.
why are you so aggressive, bro?
Because then he put the nail in the coffin on himself. Like, hey, if you vote for me, I'm coming after you.
Yeah.
I don't know why he said
I don't either,
that.
man. I don't either.
Well,
That's
which
what
was
killed
funny,
him.
he said
That
it
is what
like
killed him.
seconds after he said, you keep me in the house, I'll try to be less aggressive.
Right.
You vote for me, I'm coming
kill
after
you.
you. Like,
And they're like, whoa, what does that mean? Like, you're a killer and you can kill us and shit. He's like, that's not what I'm saying here.
No.
And they're like, it's like, oh man, like what a moron.
That was like a critical error.
Yeah, I think.
And then you think it's building on Wes and all this kind of stuff, and then Carolyn decides to chime in.
Yeah, I think that whole roundtable could have gone against Rob had Wes not said that. Had Wes not,
absolutely.
He put his
Well,
own.
I mean, the votes came down to like the wire, but Wes just
Had
did
Wes not
sell
said
it.
that, Rob would have been gone probably. And here's the thing. I mean, Carolyn brought up one good point. You know, she mentioned Jeremy. Like, Jeremy was on to Danielle, and then he got freaking murdered, and he's out now. But again, she didn't bring up the whole freaking thing where Danielle didn't pick herself for the shield and everything. And I was like, dude, there's so much you could do right now to actually sell that, and you're just doing a horrible job of it.
Yeah.
So the votes come out, and at first it's heavy on Wes, and then it starts tilting toward Rob, and you're like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" At one point, Rob, I think, was outnumbering 5-4.
He was. And I thought it was funny when they panned to Danielle because she was like really torn on how to vote. Because at this point, she is in a pickle on how she votes. Because if she takes the shot at Rob and she misses, it's like, what is that? Last night we said we were all going to work together. Yeah, exactly. Now she's coming after me. I'm still voting for you. Like, so that was all BS, right? But if she votes for Wes, when the Rob vote could have knocked Rob out, which is what she wanted. So she was really conflicted on how to vote.
The thing is, Rob even tried helping them when he was trying to pin stuff at Wes. He's like, look, Wes has said stuff about me. He says stuff about so-and-so. He says stuff about Carolyn. He says stuff about Danielle. He says, so he mentioned like 5 different people and threw them in there as if they're supposed to be safe people. Right. So he was even kind of looking out for them right there. And then they just,
well, his back was kind of against the wall. I think he was like searching for some help, like, can I trust you two to vote with me?
They weren't really helping. They weren't helping.
No, not at all.
Protect him in any way. Carolyn was just trying to throw Danielle under the bus at that point.
Yeah.
So like,
Carolyn has one thing going right now, and it's to get rid of Danielle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And Danielle has one thing going, and it's to get rid of Rob. She was
that
trying
might
to
change,
get rid of.
Though.
She was trying to get rid of Carolyn as a pathway to get rid of Rob, but then she thought this roundtable, she thought it was going to go that way. So
here's my thing. I still don't know how Danielle's still here because early on, people were on to her. Again, Jeremy was on to her. He got killed, right? Freaking Zac Efron's little brother, he was kind of skeptical about her for a little bit, Dylan. And then it's like all that just went away now, even though she's done all this shady stuff. And Carolyn tried bringing it up, and like still people are like all of a sudden not sold on it. I'm like, dude, how in the hell is Danielle still in this house with all the just craziness? I just don't get it.
So I think Ciara's the last one, and then she chooses Wes. So it's Wes.
And you see Derrick's face, like
he's like, it ain't him.
Derrick at this point in time isn't suspecting. He's not going to be when they do vote Rob out. He's not going to be sitting there like, okay, I hope I'm right. He knows damn well that Rob is a traitor. He is 100% sure.
But he starts to lose a little focus too because someone's pissed him off. And it's Britney.
Yeah.
So now he's convinced, I know Rob's a traitor.
And you are too.
But now he thinks Britney's a traitor. So maybe he focuses more on Britney because that's a more easily targeted.
And that's what I was wondering if he's going to try to switch it to her.
He's got to survive the night first.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you know.
Well, at this point, if you get rid of Derrick, then it's obviously
Is
Rob. I think.
Is it? Or will Rob make the argument, obviously that's what the traitor wants you to think, that I'm the traitor.
Well, there's enough dumb people in the show, maybe.
Now, I'll tell you what, here's maybe a smart move. Because, he did mention Britney to set, a couple people after that. Maybe they kill Britney, and then you start putting the freaking pointing the finger at Derrick, like, oh, well, you were talking about Rob, and then Britney, and now Britney's dead. Like, what's going on here?
Don't kill Britney. I like Britney.
I think maybe they kill.
I think only one person might know that he really detests Britney right now, though, right? Because he was talking to someone, then Britney decided that she was thinking about coming in the room. Then she turned. He's like, "You see?"
Yeah, but there were two people.
She don't want this smoke.
Yeah, right. So, but I think he said enough. I think he said enough to where they could deflect it to him now and be like, really, it could be him because.
They would be dumb at that point.
Yeah,
I don't know if Dylan would fall in it, but there's so many people not really thinking through this game. Who knows?
Oh yeah, exactly.
What's funny is that these three traitors are still here when they're just doing such a horrible job. Like, I cannot believe they're going after each other at this point. How are they surviving?
And then Carolyn's faces, man. That woman. I mean, Carolyn's a big weirdo, and we're all weirdos to an extent.
She says she's an outsider.
Yeah, she said that in the real world and on the show.
Some of the faces that woman makes, man, I'm just like, good lord, and this kind of annoys me. But
I don't think people think she's the traitor, though. So
no, they don't.
Yeah.
They don't think she's traitor at all.
But things
she's not playing a very good game.
are not copacetic amongst the three of them.
No. Like I said, like the night before when they all met together, they decided they were going to bury the hatchet and like they were going to get back on plan, and then here we are. Carolyn calling out Danielle voting for Rob.
Yeah, Rob breaks. He's like, she voted for me, and then you came after her, and it's like, what is going on?
Right.
And it's funny, too, because Carolyn's like, well, we're just going to have to get rid of Danielle. We're just going to have to go after Danielle.
I don't even know what to do. I don't.
We just got to go after Danielle.
Well, the funny thing, too, is another smart thing Rob did is when they came out of the round table, he was going up to everybody to help. Hey, man, thank you for having my back. Thanks for having my back, bro. Hey, you, thanks for having my back. I was like,
and I think he's convinced Dylan. He's like, because like we did find the one traitor. Remember that? And Dylan's like, yeah, I got that.
Yeah, poor Dylan. Poor Dylan at this point. He was so good. He was so good. And now he's like so blinded by it. He's in love with Rob, I think. Like,
I mean, he should have kept following that little the Danielle trail, man.
Yeah, and I don't know what Derrick can do to convince Dylan. I don't know.
I don't know because I feel like Dylan would be put in the middle and be like, you both play very similar kind of game here, and it's like a 50-50. So I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I think Rob still has that. Hey, I got out a traitor. Has he?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, again, as Wes says, it's easy to get out of traitor when you know who the traitors are.
Yeah, exactly. and that's gonna be freaking Rob's exact. Oh, that's the thing too. Remember, because Derrick was like, "You watch, they're gonna murder me tonight." Mm-hmm. He's like, and then Rob's gonna be like, "Oh, they're doing it to throw shade at me," you know. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I mean that's his. I think that's the way Rob is going to try to go. I don't know.
Well, and that's good for him to kind of say that to, prep the battlefield for that.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Well,
I don't want to see Derrick.
And then maybe like Rob hears that and he's like, oh, can't kill him because, they're going to be on to me for real now.
Well, I think here, if Derrick is killed, I think Dylan might open his eyes at that point.
Maybe.
Well, he better because like a lot of good people are starting to fall. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, one that's the thing too, though, right? Like if too many traitors fall, they bring more traitors over, right? So when do they stop bringing traitors over? At one point does it happen where they're like, all right, enough traitors have died, enough other people have died, no more bringing new traitors. You've seen other seasons. How does that work?
Yeah, I don't know what the limit is. I know that they were down to like 4 or 5 when it came down. It's complicated. Somebody else in the comments explain it. I'm
please.
not knowledgeable enough to explain
Yeah,
it.
somebody please explain when did they stop adding traitors? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did like this episode because there's a lot of chaos going on, and it's just interesting to see like Rob, Wes, and Derrick kind of go against each other here. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I mean, for Wes to call it, but he made that critical error of just coming after people.
Here's the thing. Here's to show you how good Rob is. And it was 2-on-1. Both of them were ganging up on him, and he still managed to pull it off. So I was
Yeah.
like, man.
But you know who,
Barely by the skin of his
Right,
teeth.
yeah.
as he-
you know who's kind of sliding off the radar now is Ciara. Because she was on the
yeah,
radar.
people aren't
Yeah,
talking about her now.
she's like, oh, okay.
I don't
that's
even know
nice.
why she was on it.
I don't
honestly.
even.
Because she was in the
But-
coffin.
But you know,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That's the only reason.
That's
She
the
was on
only
top.
reason,
Yeah,
because she was in the
absolutely right.
coffin. And the energy change.
It's just very hard to rally this group of people together.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
No,
behind
you're
a
right.
smart vote.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I think some people just don't want that kind of smoke, so they just go with the flow and like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna vote with the group or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I mean, well,
And that's why I think even Derrick's trying to. He sees that a little bit too, and he realizes, so he's trying to be a little bit safe about it too.
yeah. Well, and
it
he
was the
really
same
put
thing that
himself
happened to
out
Dylan.
there this one.
Right. And that's the exact same thing that happened to Dylan. He tried it in the beginning with Bob Drag Queen, and nobody wanted to listen to him, so then he kind of backed off, right? So,
And it's like the exact same thing, because when it didn't work the first go around, Dylan's face was just like, you guys
right?
didn't listen to me. And that's Derrick's face this time was, you guys didn't listen to me.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Well, there you have it, folks. That is probably maybe the best episode so far this season, I think, down. You know, just all the craziness in it and just this communication between the traders and everything.
messy.
It was
It's
messy.
messy.
Yeah, it was definitely messy. But hey, guys, we love doing this. We love talking to y'all. Please, we had a couple questions for y'all. Please answer them. Because I don't know how this whole, how the traders new coming in, how that ends,
Yeah.
all that stuff. I'd love to know that. And just listen to your thoughts on this. Who you think is going to get murdered next. And until next time, we will check you guys on our next review.
Fuck all you guys.